Okay, let's see what we got here. Jet goes on it. Control panel. I want this up here, just setting up for the live stream. Why aren't you letting me do this? Just setting up for the live stream. Okay. Right. And we're good enough. Oh. So this is all part of my grand design to refurbish a bunch of pan planes. And just gonna start opening it like Christmas. Okay, this is the first one. Oh, nice. Stanley Bailey number 4. This looks like a Type 17. One Type 17. Cracks, chips, scrapes. Nope, no cracks. This looks to be fantastic condition. Okay, next up. Grab them as I find them. Another Stanley. Another Type 17. You can kind of tell by the rosewood handle. Not painted black. It has all its bells and whistles. This is a number 3. Another number 3 to add into the collection. See any cracks in the handle? Nope, no cracks in the handle. This is in excellent condition. Some clean up and will be ready for use. That. Oh, we got a long one. Doesn't feel like a 5. Doesn't feel like a 4 either. It's kind of short. Okay, it is a 5 with a screw that's come loose. The handle. Okay, a lot of surface rust on this one. Handle's pretty loose. I wonder what's going on in there. I might dig into that right now. Yeah, it's all locked up. Lateral to move. No. It's just a rusted out handle. I'll probably have to remachine that. The rest of it is looking pretty rusty. Everything's really up in there. Fighting me. Blade is in good shape, and that is super important. And there does not seem to be any cracks in it, just a lot of surface rust up here in the top section. And that's definitely impacting this screw's ability to screw in, but I don't even think this is the right screw. So I'm going to see if I have an extra one. We can get that locked in place. Now you just stay like that, don't go nowhere. So stay tight. Okay. Another one down. There's 3 more in here. 3 more mystery planes. Okay. Looks like another number 4. Another number 4. On down with another number 4. Saw where that. I'm gonna be an expert at restoring these things at the time. Oh yes, another number 4. Really chipped down iron. Tell. Looks like another type 17 to me. A little chipping right here at the front knob. No cracks. Another good type 4. Take off all of these. Anywhere, never mind. So the box just keeps on giving, huh? Oh, I already know this is a Type 19. Ain't a job. Ooh, the rustiest of them all. Oh, it's not even a Stanley Handyman. No frog adjuster screw. Just an old hand plane. No chips, no breaks. A lot of rust here on the outside. This thing looks pretty fine. This one's made in England. Pretty tightened down, but all the pieces seem to be there. In good shape. Okay, we got a long one. I wasn't able to ID the brand. Ugh. Picture. But I wanted all those number 4s. What I was really excited about. Okay. Alright, what do we got here? Ooh, rough handle. We'll have to remake that. This looks to be almost a number 6. Chip right here, the upper section. A lot of surface rust. A lot of surface rust. Handle is falling apart. Knob is falling apart. Set this tight. Spring's really not doing much at this point. The old beat up, some spider webs. Right there, nice, large iron. Ladder adjuster works. Very simplistic design. All the pieces are there. Everything you need to make a good hand plane. But this brand is Winchester Trademark. I know a lot of brands made hand planes. Just another one out there. Winchester Trademark. I'll have to throw that spring in. It's not doing anything. Tiny little lateral adjuster wheel. juice in there too. Most well-made thing, but we will refurbish it all the same. That's it. Number 6, no cracks in the mouth, no cracks in the side, just a little bit of surface cracks right here. That's it. Number 6, shape. Number 5, shape. All these are in surprisingly sound condition. Hopefully I can turn some of these around. Make a few dollars. That's it. That's all our Stanleys. All the hand planes. Hello, my name is Jacob. We're starting the live stream in just a few minutes. I guess we're actually starting this live stream right now. Yeah, but before we really jump into getting into this plane right here, I was actually gonna do a little bit of a different start and actually talk just a little bit about what I've been up to as a woodworker. Still trying to find my footing in these live streams and making videos and making content, but I thought it might be interesting to share what I am up to as a person who does woodworking for a living, and restoring hand planes as a hobby. So I'm going to push this out of frame. So right now my big project is this bed frame I've been working on for a couple months now, and recently we put the bed frame into the person's house and it didn't quite fit. And I think this happens a lot with customers where they order something to a certain dimension and then once it actually gets into the place, it doesn't fit. They either over or underestimate the size of what they're looking for. And so I built these adapters that are going to fit inside the box where the bed is going to go, so that the bed fits a little bit better. And the next part of that is I'm building a headrest. But right now I'm waiting on basically the design that I sent to the customer for them to approve it so I can start to work on it, or if they need to make any adjustments. So in the meantime, I'm kind of doing some side projects. I don't want to start any other orders. I have a few boxes, cutting boards, chairs that I need to make, but there's not a lot of space here, so I don't want to get clustered where I have this headrest here that I'm building, as well as other projects. I've done that in the past, and the woodworking shop kind of starts to bleed into my house. But something I can make are chessboards. This is not totally sanded yet, but I make these chessboards out of a mixture of walnut, maple, and purple heart. I usually build 2 to 4 at a time, and I'll sell them as it comes up. They're usually about 1/2 inch to 0.75 inches in width, about 14 inches wide, but that's not really what I'm excited about. I recently figured out that I can make templates. I'm actually going to grab some of them. Templates, and then trace them onto pieces of wood and use that on the bandsaw. Before I was trying to do pieces one at a time, but I found that if I do a bunch of them at the same time, bandsaw doesn't tend to kick. I'm going to make a video about that a little bit later, but right now the set I'm working on, because I don't want to make just a normal set of chess pieces, is the desert set. And so pieces like bishop are going to be this little owl, and pieces like the knights are going to be these little jackrabbits. And I'm bringing this up because what I'm thinking about is, instead of having twice a week 2 segments where I work on hand planes, I might do a different segment where I just spend the time that it takes to hone in these pieces. It's a lot of carving, and just have a zoomed in image of what I'm working on and what I'm carving. And I'm going to be posting more about that. If that is something that you or anyone else might find interesting, it will just be probably a non-commentary time where I spend carving pieces of wood to give them a little bit more detail than I can get on the bandsaw. And if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments. But with that, it is 6 o'clock, and we are going to start this channel. So, again, my name is Jacob, A8 Designs and Manzanares Woodworking, and I'm here to restore some hand planes. Today we are working on this plane right here. This is a Winchester 315. It's the 18-inch model. These Winchester hand planes were only built for about 10 years, and it is the Winchester rifle, the Winchester Guns Company. I forget what its actual name is. I'm blanking on that right now. And the thing about these hand planes is that Winchester didn't actually make them. They outsourced them to 2 different companies, Sargent and Stanley. Those were the 2 big hand plane companies during that time. And so most of the modeling off them is based on the Stanley hand plane. I don't have any from this generation, so as we get into it, I have a couple different diagrams that I'll be pulling up that we can look at and see what we can figure out about this hand plane. What I want to do during this video is figure out what needs to be fixed, needs to be changed, if I need to make any adjustments, what's salvageable, if any, if all, and make basically a plan for what I'm going to do during the non-live recorded parts that I can do to this hand plane to get it back into a functioning state. Before that though, I'm just going to jump back into, oh, look at all these hand planes. I got an order of hand planes, as you may have seen in the precursor video. Some really cool ones. I got this Type 15 Sweethearts, a couple of Type 17s, a lot of like rusty ones, some not so cool ones like the Handyman. And I was able to finish restoring one of the number 3s. But I want to come over here to the first hand plane that we started this channel with, and I'll show y'all what's going on with this. So if you remember, when we took this hand plane apart way back when, and I should have busted out some pictures for it, there's 2 things, there's 3 major things wrong with it. The handles were broken, and there's this big chip right here at the base of the hand plane. And since then, I have re-oiled them, but I've also added in these, come on camera, zoom in, little walnut fillings, if it'll focus. And it barely shows up on the camera. It's a little bit more noticeable, but not too noticeable. I also filled in 1 chip on the handle here, where you can pretty clearly see that, and that is also walnut to the original wood. I've also cleared off all the Japanning from this hand plane, so it is its original base metal. And I have a small jar of Japanning that I am getting in the mail soon, hopefully this week. And I will be re-Japanning this, making a video about that process, and then hopefully this thing will be basically as refurbished as it possibly can be and ready for action. Yeah, that is this Stanley number 4, type 13. Okay. What else did we work on? Broke down to number 3 last time. I haven't really touched that yet. Sorry. But let's get into the reason that we are here right now, which is this Winchester Trademark. So, something that I read about when I was looking into this hand plane is that it was based off of the bedrock design for Winchester tools, or for Stanley tools, the Stanley Bailey, which was their, not their flagship, but their like higher end of hand planes, was the bedrock for the Stanley hand planes. And it offered a couple more features than the regular hand planes, and supposedly this is based off that. I don't know if I completely believe that, because there's a few things that this hand plane doesn't have that the bedrocks do have just right off the bat, because the bedrocks are known for having an adjuster right in the back that is really easy to use right here at the base of the frog. And on these more modern hand planes, see it. It's that little screw right there, and it allows you to set the frog forward and back. And if you have to take this frog, this piece right here, off for any reason, it is already preset to its original location. And the bedrock just makes it easier for you to adjust that screw. And it offers a more stable base. And I'm actually going to pull up a little... So given that, we're going to figure out what this was actually based off of. I'm suspecting it was the older version, based on the time frame that it was made. And we're just going to start to take it apart. Step 1, take the whole thing apart. Got coffee. It's decaf. It's right here. I've already gone through here and sprayed it with WD-40. I kind of figured that in a live stream video it might be best to hurry some of those other things along and not spend a lot of time waiting for the WD-40 to do its work. Okay, so this is the front knob. It looks like it was made from rosewood. Actually, it doesn't. It feels more like cherry. I don't know if this was the original knob because it is a different wood than this back toe. I can just tell that just by looking at it, and I think even in this picture, this is just a varnish, and this also has a varnish. These are clearly two different colors. So this might have been a replacement at one point. I'm just going to refurbish this as it is because I don't know where I can get rosewood for a reasonable amount. If anyone else knows where they can get rosewood for a reasonable price, leave it in the comments. But I don't know where I can find that. Just like always, it's the same build as so many hand planes. It has its lever cap right here. And yeah, just as I suspected, it's stamped with on light. You can see it, not really. Right, and there it is. There's 315. It's the model 315 Winchester. Seems to be in overall really good condition. Nice wide iron and chip breaker. Whoa. Okay, pop that off. It's in the bucket. Okay, oh, interesting. So when I took this apart, the chip breaker was facing the same way as the cutter. And if you all know anything about this, which maybe you do at this point, when the chip breaker and the blade put together, the beveled edge of the blade should be facing away from the chip breaker. Not tough to tell without a little background here. This allows the blade to get a good, clean, cutting edge, and it's basically the engineering of that 45 degrees that the frog makes, and it will always be that 45 degrees because that's the ideal, supposedly the ideal cutting angle for hand planing. You can buy other hand planes at different angles, and they're used for different applications, but for general purpose, 45 degrees is what you're looking for. And I don't really see too many markings on this. I'm going to try to get... There is a bit of a marking here at the top of the iron. Take my toothbrush. Yeah, interesting is that on the top of this iron, it's not going to come out of the picture, it's too subtle, but it does say Stanley made in USA. So that's another indicator that though this is a Winchester trademark hand plane, it was made by Stanley. Thanks, Seth. Appreciate it. Chip breaker is going away. Let's keep working our way down this hand plane. Okay. Oh. Weird. So this must have been modified at some point because these two, oh, it's weird. Come on. I can think in reverse. These two screws at the base of the frog are different. And what I think probably happened to someone when this was in use, lost one of the screws and just replaced it with a different one. I don't know what the original screws are supposed to look like, so I might just replace them with 2 new screws. That is our frog. It has one flat base in the front. So if we go back to this seat, but also looking to be pretty okay. So there. And everything is flowing smoothly after I put that WD-40 on it. I don't want to give this adjuster too much grief. It all kind of looks a little frail. Really don't want to force it into anything. There is here, close to the camera, there's this little pin right here, and so you've seen on the other film planes that the pin is something that I have to hammer out. On this one, it looks like I can just take some pliers, maybe. I'm hoping that I won't break it, but it doesn't seem to be the most complicated pin system, so if it does break, probably okay with replacing it. Hey, look at that. Yeah, this is literally just a nail. So whoever was working on this, whoever got this last time, just used a brad nail, chiseled down a little bit of one side of it, and then bent that once it was in the frog. That's pretty cool. Very MacGyvery. I'm going to keep this. I'm going to try to keep this and use this to honor the last user of whoever had this hand plane, and try to kind of keep that tradition of using that nail alive a bit longer. Our blade adjusters coming off real smooth. Our Y yoke. This is the Y yoke. It's a Y yoke because it looks like a Y. Yeah, I don't know if there's any reason for that. I don't know if there possibly could be any other reason for that, but it is the reason. So there. Alright, our lateral adjuster. Really tell what material this is made out of. Okay, the lateral adjuster seems to be made out of steel, unlike its bronze counterparts of so many in that generation. And once I get it into a vinegar bath and let it sit for a day and clean it off, I'll know a bit more, but it looks like steel with a coat of bronze. I don't know. I don't know much about this hand plane, but that seems like an odd choice. Alright. Okay, this piece is coming off real easy. That is that. Our frog is all taken apart. Might go get some steel wool and clean this up a bit more. A lot of grime, dirt, and that is going to be a lot of what this video is just cleaning this piece up. Okay. Next up is our tote. It's thing is looking to be in rough condition. The screws that we're using. Still work. Wow, not a drop of rust on this piece. Whoever kept this, just kept it out of direct moisture. I'm not sure how this thing got so rusty in the first place. So this is our tote right now. What I'm going to do with this, I think, is just build a completely second tote. Probably out of something like Purple Heart. This tote is pretty beat up. You can see the front screw is completely chipped away. The horn is gone. And if I was to repair this, I would have to cut off most of the top of the handle and the front here to create some new pieces, which I could, but I'm hesitant to, in fear of, well, I guess I'm not going to ruin this anymore, but I think if I ever decided to resell or move this hand plane forward, I would want to be able to give the next owner these original pieces that it has and keep them intact, especially something that this old. This is a 1920s hand plane, and I would want to not destroy it as much as I possibly can. Yeah, so I think I'm just going to make my own. I'm not really good at making my own handles. This is one that I worked on a while ago. The problem with it is that I'm not really good at drilling a straight hole. This is the front, this is the bottom. So it's like, it's pretty straight. It is just a millimeter tucked to the left here, and that is enough to make the handle sit a little funky. Eventually I'm going to have to get good at this, because I think if I'm going to continue to refurbish planes, it might be a good skill to have to be able to drill a straight hole. I just don't really have a drill bit long enough for that. I'll have to find one, but that'll be a later exploration. For now, we are cleaning up this hand plane. I'm going to move the camera so that this cleaning process can be a bit better filmed. Yep, that's the sound of a moving camera. In case you didn't know. Ooh la la. Okay, that's pretty good. I like that. Alright. This, move some of the random stuff out of here. Don't totally need. Alright. So, I've also been kind of trying to figure out a story to tell, because people seem to be interested in hearing stories about woodworking and woodworking tools, and I really haven't come up with too much. I've gotten a little bit into the history of woodworking and hand planes. Something interesting that I did find is that hand planes were actually first ever recorded being used by Egyptians. They were very... well, it wasn't really much different. Some of the early 19th century hand planes were just a wooden block with an iron shoved into it at 45 degrees and wedged into place, and they used that to get a consistent cut. And pretty much the Egyptians used the exact same thing. It was just a piece of metal, piece of wood, a hole in the wood, the iron put into that, and they used that. And they that has been being used for, I don't know, thousands of years at this point. The Romans used it. They were the ones that introduced some metal work into their hand planes, and I think what they're called now are hybrid planes. It's where it has a bit of metal, a bit of wood, and together those two things make a hand plane that is very versatile. That's what the Romans used, and it wasn't until just in the 1900s that these hand planes, these full metal bodies, were really introduced. Slowing down on my... I want to hear about the first time you used a 2x4. Found a 2x4. They found 2x4? Oh, my first experience with woodworking, or the versatility of wood, is that what you're asking about? You want to know about the versatility of wood. Wood is, there's a lot you can do with a 2x4. Sometimes that is defending your friend against another friend. The story he's referencing is... Probably shouldn't be using this. I should probably be using my scrap chisel. The story Jordan Urbanbo is referencing is when I was younger, me and my friends used to have airsoft battles in the fire road behind our houses. And at one point, we didn't really have any rules for if you got hit, you were out. It was very surrender based, which is probably not a great idea for little 12 to 14-year-olds that had high pain tolerance and low-powered airsoft guns, because it would often result into more physical combat. So at one point, one of my friends got face-to-face with another one, and they were shooting each other, and and neither one of them was surrendering, so they started hitting each other with their airsoft guns. And I didn't really know what to do in this situation, because I saw one of them winning in the fight very aggressively, and so I picked up a 2x4 and I hit my other friend on the back of their head with the 2x4, knocking him over. And so I'm standing there above my friend. He has a head that's been hit by a 2x4, and the other friend is on the ground. He has this big mark on his forehead because the friend that I hit with the 2x4 had taken the butt of the pistol and was hitting him over the head with it. So the whole fight stopped. We're all kind of sitting there, kind of chuckling and laughing. And we start to walk back to our house, like as 12-year-olds do when they have a fight. It pretty much ends as soon as the last punch is thrown. We start walking back to the house, and the friend I hit with a 2x4 is telling us, he's like, my head feels weird. It feels wet. And we look at him, and there's just blood just covering his face. And if you know anything about head wounds, it doesn't necessarily have to be a deep head wound. You can still get a lot of blood flow from just a small head trauma. And so we come back, and our parents aren't home. So what we do is we decide to just sit in the front yard and wait. And so we're just kind of sitting there waiting for somebody to get home. And I think it was either, I think it was my dad that came home first. And we're just sitting there laughing, having a good time. And my friend's face is just covered with blood. And we're not even thinking about it at this point. Like, we've moved on. and are just planning our next little adventure. But parents were not happy about the level of violence in our fake wars, and they actually didn't really tone us back at that point. We still just continued to fight and brawl all the same, which was definitely interesting choices. But we became tough, didn't we, Bambo? Alright, I'm just trying to really kind of get in here. And so this black paint right here is called Japanning, and it's meant to protect the plane from any rust or corrosion over time, and it seems to have done just that, but now all that is peeling away. So I'm trying to kind of get any of the flakes to come off. That way when I soak this, the vinegar can really get underneath the Japanning and break away any rust. It's difficult to tell stories while you're in a hand plane. Sorry, I kind of lost track a few times while I was telling that story. I'm trying to focus on not getting my fingers off here. Yeah, for some reason our game ended early. Yeah, we called it after that. And we thought that even as our young selves, we figured leading from the head was a good time to stop the gameplay for that day. Really just chipping away at all this. This is also why I have this glass table that I work on, is so that I can make a bit of a mess here. And at the end of the stream, I will just clean it up. Yeah, we definitely had a lot of adventures out in that dog run, or in that fire road. It was a lawless place, but it was pretty cool also for a time when you could grow up, because it was pretty unregulated from the parents, because there was fences on either side of the fire road, and so it was just like a large park that only kids went into from that neighborhood, and no one else really came out into that spot until later, when people started realizing that they could walk their dogs out there. Okay, take away all that. That's good. And you can start to just make out right here, branding 3015. This is the 315 model of this hand plane. Winchester Trademark. See if I can clean up this front label a bit. I'm not going to scrape away any of the labels with the chisel, because the last thing I want to do is accidentally chip off any of the letters. There it is. Winchester Trademark. Barely legible. Yeah, so along with some of the other videos I talked about, I am also going to be re-Japanning this one. And I tried this method with Sari strip. It's a paint stripper used on furniture a lot of times, and said to bring off the paint. I had a tough time with it. It left a lot of smudges and marks. It almost seemed to reintroduce the rust and grime. I didn't really notice too much of it breaking down paint, but I'm going to try again on this one. Okay, that is... Yep. Take a sip of my coffee at the end of this thing. So if you are just joining live stream, I've talked about us breaking down this Winchester 315 hand plane, and also a bit about me switching up the format of these videos. I don't know if the longevity of doing a plane restoration twice a week is actually realistic. So I am probably going to end up doing wood carving as I work on chess pieces for one of the video. But I might be switching it up a bit. Where sometimes I work on these restoration bits and sometimes I work on wood carving. I'm not really sure yet. 5 streams a week is a lot of time to figure it out. I haven't really figured out what I'm going to do with this hand yet. I'm going to use it for a little while, but then I might resell it. I don't have a hand plane in this size, but I also don't really know if I have a use for a hand plane in this size. I went on a bit of a wild streak where I saw a bunch of hand planes on eBay that had just been sitting there for months on different people's pages where there's these lots, and I put in 2 different bids on these lots of hand planes. Yeah, it is tool fixing time. We are working on this Winchester 315. It is an 18-inch hand plane. Yeah, so I bought this in this lot of hand planes. Oh man, my hands are dirty. I bought this in this lot of hand planes of 6 because I put in an offer for about 60% of what the person was asking for, and a few days later they accepted. I also at the same time put in an offer for a different set of hand planes for about the same price, and that person didn't accept till weeks later, but by then I was already locked in and I kind of forgotten about it. And so in this order I got 6 different hand planes. So this camera back up. You can see this lot of them. Some of them are from hand planes that I've had in the past, like this one and this one and this one. But the rest of these, no, yeah. This one I've had. I've had these, but the rest of these, the other 5, are new to me. And then I also bought a lot of 10 more hand planes that I'm planning on refurbishing. I don't know what came over me. It just sort of happened. But I definitely am not going to be able to keep that many hand planes. So I am going to have to be reselling. Because I do not need 20 different hand planes. That's crazy. Yeah. Weird moment there. But it happens. So this tool is looking to be in good shape. I'll probably use a little bit of that stripper on this as well. But for the most part, I'll probably just take this to the wire wheel. And it up there. Get too wild with it. It's looking good. Another branding right here at the base of it. That comes through. Light bulb. It says 418. I'll find some better lighting eventually. Okay. Yeah, I did go through a hand plane fever. It was weird. I just having a trance on eBay, and things like money were just not real. I had just finished the first part of that bed frame I was talking about earlier, and I had a due date on it for I think like a week and a half ago on a Saturday. I just come back from vacation. It was not as done as I wanted it to be at that point because I was still waiting on some parts to come in the mail. And so I spent 10 days kind of working from 7 in the morning till late in the afternoon. And out here in Joshua Tree, I typically only work from 7 to 1 because it gets to about 100 degrees in the afternoon, 110, and it's just unbearable to be working in that. But what if you need to do 20? Yeah. If I need to do 20, then I'll do 20. That might be the thing that I just have to do. I don't really know what the condition of the next lot is, though. It's just there are so many hand planes and so much time, so I'm not too worried. But I went through this kind of fevery trance after I finished that bed frame and delivered it, and I slept for about 14 hours. And then when I got up, I was in this state of elation, and I just decided that I was going to go shopping on eBay. That's when I placed in all of those bids. Kind of a weird move, but hopefully I got them for dirt cheap, so maybe I can turn them around to some people that are looking for some freshly refurbished hand plane. Here we are. So this little bit right here, it's got a little red tint to it. I don't know how I'm going to get into that, but I'm going to try to hold on to that coloring. Maybe I can find some red enamel to add to my Danny mix. Let's see though. Clean it up. Surface gunk that we got going on here. But this plane looks to be fantastic. Fantastic shape. Okay. Yep. Nice angle on this. I don't really know if there's any difference when you are sharpening a number 6 iron on a hand plane, if you're supposed to put an arch or anything if there's anything specific that I'm supposed to do, but I will be looking into that later. That was kind of fun. So you can really see just like a sunburn where the chip breaker was. Whoop. So what I think happened with this hand plane, I think it was just left out in a humid environment. But it was just in a workshop somewhere. And the moisture in the air just kind of settled onto the exposed parts of it, because even the base is looking to be in pretty good condition. There's a little bit of rust here. I imagine that's probably the low point, but the rest of it is looking flat and just a tiny amount of surface rust on it. Yeah, this plane is such stellar shape. Very exciting for me. Alright. I think that's as far as I can get on this sample. Now, put that to the side. Okay. Alright, chat. Are y'all interested in me starting to break down another one of the hand planes that I got? Or should I move on to something different? Don't know what I would move on to. I guess I would start to sharpen this blade. But okay. So if you join the chat, also just going to break down the history of this one more time. The hand plane that we broke down today is this Winchester 315, made by the Winchester Rifle Company, or Winchester Arms. I forget. Why am I blinking on the name right now? If you know in the chat, what was the Winchester Gun Company? But it wasn't actually made by Winchester. It was made by Stanley. Stanley hand planes has used the same template. The only thing different is this Winchester mark right here. It's patent logo, and on the lever cap, a project build would be cool. A project build, like one of the woodshop projects that I'm working on. Or one of the hand plane projects that I'm working on. Oh, I'm just gonna jump into the hand plane. Okay, let's turn this again. Ah! Okay, camera down. Come back. Don't you go anywhere. That's it. Ugh. Now it's really hot. Or just anything. Okay. Well, then I am going to break down another hand plane. Because that's what this channel's about. And in the next one, like one off. Oh, well, sure. I'll be right back. Okay. This is a one-off custom order piece, and it's supposed to be shipped out tomorrow, and it will be shipped out tomorrow. I have jury duty in the morning, so I'm going to ship it out as I'm on my way there. And I'm just going to reopen it because it is not really that crazy to open these things the way that I break them down. I also just use show the dessert board again. Oh, the desert cutting board? Now I want to show this. This is cool. I think this one is a sweet little build that this person ordered. Oh, but I must have packed it tighter than I thought. Here. Come on. Come on, Hambone. We gotta wrestle it. It's in there. Let's see it. Alright, I'm gonna really fight this thing. Ooh, yeah. Maybe this is not going out. I packed it very well. Too well. Yeah. Nope. Come on, guy. You're embarrassing me in front of my friends. Where's Muscles at? Bamboo. I need your muscles. Okay. One of this. I am doing a show on this. But I'm excited about it. All the same. Ah, yes. This is look at this cute little thing. Okay. This is the camera is tough. Just gonna hold it like this. Okay, I'm gonna try and move this camera back just a wee bit. Alright. So this is it was a quick project. It is a little coffee stand that I got to build. And the fun part about this, it's held in by these dowels. They are just little walnut dowels, and it's just gonna have this little space to hold coffee mugs. Just like that. I think it's for a few ornamental coffee mugs, and then there's a small coffee maker that goes on each of these shelves. But the fun part about this is that I got to use this material called curly maple, and yeah, just look at that beautiful curl. I almost drank this as my coffee. It kind of looks like coffee a bit, but it is rust and vinegar. But all these curls on this are, it's a completely flat board. It just has this nice pop to it. Yeah, this is a very quick project. A little custom order, but also a very nice, fun shelf to build with a material that was very weird to work with because it has all this grain that goes different directions. So when you are playing it with a hand plane, it likes to tear out because as you're going along the grain, suddenly the direction of the grain just like switches on you. without much notice. This is a project that I'm working on. The other projects are outside and they're way too big to bring into this space. But it's a cool one. It's getting shipped off in the morning. Another cool thing that happened, I'm very excited to break down, is this one right here, this Type 15. This is my first official Stanley Sweetheart. And I don't think the person that sold it to me actually knew that, because when... Oh, come on, camera. Don't you go anywhere. So, when it was sold to me, just like the iron on the last plane, it was put in reverse. This, with the beveled edge going down. So when the person scrubbed off this top part and didn't see any logo, they probably thought it was just typical hand plane, but these are the creme de la creme, cream of the crop. These are the hand planes that people are searching for, because they are some of the finest made hand planes out there. So as I was breaking this down, I realized that this iron was upside down, flipped it over, scrubbed off this label here, and barely just make out a little heart. I don't know if you can even make it out on this one, on this camera. Little SW, standing for Stanley Works. And very excited about this. This plane is in gorgeous condition. Almost nothing wrong with it. There is what looks like a fracture here at the mouth, but it's so little, it's just a little hairline. I don't think it's ever going to cause a problem. If anyone is a welder, though, and thinks that they could do a little bit of welding and fix up that piece, let me know. I can send you a hand plane, 2 hand planes, one that I'm never going to work on because it's going to be super broken for you to practice on, and this one as well. We're willing to try on a very valuable piece of metal. But I'm going to start to work on this one as well, and I think I'm going to be keeping this one as my worker hand plane, as my day-to-day, just because it's known for being very useful, very smooth hand plane. I'm looking forward to getting some use with. Back right there. Back on the list. Okay. Well, that is the end of it. Had to stretch out some material there, but that is okay. On Thursday, I'm going to be live streaming again, except then I am going to be doing just some carving of chess pieces. Right now, I have the bishop, knight, and the rook. Rook is castle, yeah, rook. And I am going to be trying to figure out what I should use as the desert king and queen, which I'm not really sure what it's going to be yet. But Great Hordal for the bishop, Jackrabbit for our knight. It's going to be a desert tortoise for the castle. And if you have any ideas for the king and queen, DM me or leave a note in the comments. Other than that, that is the live stream. Thank you for joining. Thank you for letting me stretch that out until 7 o'clock. It has been great to have you all here. Thank you all for your comments. And that's it. Hope you all have a good night.